room smells like fresh handmade tortillas. He recognized the tattoos. A real big Maori brother known for bad news when his cash rules. Are you familiar with the shell of the cashews? As he holds the needle up to the light bulb, white girls into drunk. He stands up, runs to the window and jumps. Aim for the pool. Splash, the impact from that almost split him in half. Voice from the past asks that he enjoyed the bath. Laughs with his arm in a cast. Hold up, never what it seems. Everybody wanna be seen on the cover of a magazine. Everybody want big things. Everybody want big dreams.
What's the greatest joy that you take away from fighting?
It's also helped me on a spiritual level. It's connecting with God and know what I'm fighting for. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been seeing a lot of evil stuff, you know, when you get on this level where, you know, people love money, you know what I'm saying? And I want to detach myself from being one of the worldly figures of the world that I'm doing, you know, stuff that's not really, you know, appetizing to God, you know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to, you know, not be so conflicted of saying that I want to really be a person, a child of God and really working and being that true example. So I learned, you know, through this fighting, so I got to connect with him on a daily basis and pray as much as I can.
Now, later this year, I believe in a couple months, we're going to see some of your middleweight contemporaries, Gennady Golovkin and David Lemieux, are going to be fighting. And we're also going to be seeing Miguel Cotto versus Canelo Alvarez. And those are some pretty high-profile fights with big implications. Is it frustrating as a world champion yourself, as a competitor, to somewhat be on the outside looking in on some of these high-profile matches? Because I'm sure you'd love to be in these matchups and you'd love to, you know, show what you can do on the highest stage as you have.
Do you know how much they're getting paid for those fights?
No, I'm not sure.
How much you think they're getting paid?
I would hope they would be getting paid a couple million, but I know there's a lot of politics and a lot of things in the sport. I would think out of all the four fighters that I mentioned, I think probably Miguel Cotto would probably be making the most money out of them all.
Making the most money. He'd probably making about like, what, 3-4 million, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not too far from that. You know what I'm saying? Making money wise. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about what those other guys are doing. If they're making their money, then so be it. You know, like if I was to fight Gennady Golovkin with his name recognition and what he's doing right now, I should get paid a lot of money to fight him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really worried when it happens. When, you know, Mayweather and Pacquiao had to happen because there was too much money involved. $280 million.
Right.
Can you imagine having that kind of money, bro?
No, I couldn't. I wish I had it though.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I guess when me and Gennady Golovkin is that hot, and there's that much money or some money being involved in it, fight like that between me and him, do you think I would not take that fight?
Oh, I know you would. I feel you'd fight anybody.
Yeah. So, like, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Is it sad when you see a fighter, like an old school fighter who ain't got no money and he's broke and who needs an opportunity?
I think it's one of the worst stories, one of the worst aspects of boxing.
It's the worst aspect. It's the worst, but nobody talk about that. They want to see, you know, they want to see the best fight the best, right?
Right.
And when these guys are not like having nothing after their career, they ain't wishing good on them, right? Would you agree with that?
No, I definitely agree.
Right, so I don't just fight for the glory of boxing, man. I did that in my part of my career, but I swear when you have a little kid and he's looking and he's laughing at you, and you know, I want to have a decent conversation with him when he's to the age where he's able to, you know, talk to me and express his feelings. Could you even imagine being a father and it's like slurring with your kid, talking and like that?
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be terrible. A terrible feeling to have.
Super terrible. Nobody talk about that though, so that's why I'm worried about making sure that anytime I step out there and I put my health on the line and everything on the line, that I just make sure I'm compensated with that, because you know my son has got to have a future, because his dad has got to be able to provide that for him. So You know, with that being said, you know what I mean? That's why I would take any fight and I'll fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's got to make sense for me.
Well, you bring up great points. I believe it's up to us as writers and reporters to emphasize that aspect of a lot of fighters at the end of their careers. You know, they provided us, you know, us fans with great entertaining fights, but a lot of the times, promoters may take advantage of them, or they may not get the funds that they should be getting, and then they suffer through all the abuse, you know, that is boxing, because you're putting your mind and your body through so much abuse that they can't enjoy life, you know, once their career is over. And I know a lot of people give Mayweather gripe for, you know, fighting for money, but at the end of the day, I think every fighter should really do that and look out for their best interests. So I
mean, that's like saying that a person should go to work for free.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head with that. That's a great point. Would you like to see, because there isn't really a union with boxing. There's so many different organizations, so it's like different from the NBA and NFL, and even some of those organizations don't really have a retirement plan. But would you like to see that for boxers, like a retirement plan?
Of course, but I would rather see boxers get a financial planner and make they invest in their own retirement plan. You know, you're making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody was going to work, right?
Right.
And you know what I mean, they was going to work every day and they was making $100,000 a year, right? And
right.
they was like making $100,000 for 45 years. How much money would they earn in 45 years?
A whole lot of money.
About $4.5 million. So if you get a fighter who's having like a 5-10 year career, who got to be on the level where I'm at right now, and he's making like millions of dollars here and there, and he's taking like 1 million here and one. Why did that a guy don't know how to manage his money, and a person that go to college, they go become in debt, and then they paying off college loans unless you get a scholarship, right? And you go make over $100,000 a year, right?
Right.
And then you retire after 45 years, and you only made $4.5 million in your whole life. Then that's not including taking away the tax and the living expenses and stuff like that, right?
Right.
That why not take the time to like invest in your retirement plan? It's like, I guess what happens to the world is like we all become materialistic, and you wanna own stuff that is not likely for you to. Nobody knows how to take a step backwards to move forward. You know what I mean? Or a downgrade might seem like a downgrade, but sometimes it's really an upgrade. You know what I'm saying? So, but not a lot of people are willing to look at life like that. They're just willing to have whatever they can have now and don't worry about it until when you don't got it no more. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me read you a scripture real quick.
Okay.
And read what it says, because I believe it's in my case too. Because when you think about the genetic unlocking, you know, you on record say I was scared to fight him and all this, and I don't understand where that comes from, especially when I started him, you know what kind of fighter he is, and you know when they working with the matchmaker, they make good fights with the guys that stand in front of him. He haven't fought like a pure boxer. You know, the last time he fought a good boxer was with Kassim Umar, who was 154 pounds and moving up, fighting him. He was a way smaller guy and lasted 10 rounds with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they want to see a guy who's like the great white hope of boxing right now, and not an inner city kid who comes from the hood. I mean, when I say the hood, I mean like I'm like where crackheads live at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's where I come from. I come from that. So I come from poverty, and I made a living for myself. And then, you know what I'm saying? God say this. He says in the world. Let me see. He said this. Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's not a problem.
I'm sorry if I got him going.
Oh, it's not a problem.
Are you ready?
Yep.
He said, If the world hates you, you know that it has hated me before it hated you. And if you were of the world will love its own. Because you're not of the world, but I choose you out of the world because of, let me see, just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it will love you as its own. You do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. If they obey my teaching, they will obey yours also. They will treat you this way because of my name. If you do not, the ones who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. But now they have the excuse of no excuse for sin. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. If I had not done among them works until no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin, as if they have seen. Yet they have hated me both and my Father. But this is to fulfill what is written in their law. They hated me without reason. So when people hate me for no reason, just because they think I'm scared of somebody, and I got my own valid reasons, even when I gave them my belt, do you see what kind of hate I created in people? Because I said I don't want to fight. They never listened to the reasons why I said I don't want to fight. If I just had a kid, you know what I'm saying, and it was an emotional time for me, and then at the same time my uncle passed away of cancer, when I decided to fight, and then I told myself, okay, it's time to go back to fight. And I go see my uncle. When I went to go see him, he was in hospice care. So the next day I flew out. I said, man, I got to see my uncle. And my wife and my wife, my wife is a good mother to her kid. And she was like, the baby might be too young to take, and it was like a thing, but she ended up letting my baby come. And my uncle got to see my son, and I told my uncle, I said, man, I don't care. I was trying to go fight, but now you gave me a lot of motivation of why, I have to go out there and do my best. And he said, yeah, nephew, you have to go out there, and now it's time for you to fight. He couldn't even hardly move, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Like, I came back to New York, left Michigan on the 3rd, and then I came back here. I believe I was leaving, and I was in California. I got a call and said my uncle passed away on the 6th, 3 days after I left Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a rough thing dealing with that. And I vacated my belt. And, so many people, man, it seemed like they almost hated me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they dislike me making a manly decision that's probably hard for a lot of people to even think about making, but I made it so easy because you can't value everything off of the money, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So since then, I just reset my goals about what I want to accomplish in boxing. I just want to make sure I just don't retire broke and not have nothing to show for all my work I've done in this game.